Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Moons and a Microphone, an ElfQuest podcast from Sci-Fi Sisters Inc. My name is Tanya. I love fantasy, but I keep it real. This week, Two Moons and a Microphone is sponsored by Undertow, the horror podcast by Realm. Check out the latest season, Hovering, about a UFO spotted in an Australian village by searching for Undertow wherever you get your podcasts. Everybody, welcome to Two Moons Microphone. I said it again. D'Angelo Kinard, welcome. So excited. So D'Angelo is a native of Washington, D.C. D'Angelo is one of the most sought after strength and conditioning experts in the country, amassing more than 22 years of training experience. Mr. Kinard has worked with a variety of clients, including professional athletes, fashion models, elite law enforcement, collegiate and high school athletes, champion natural bodybuilders, NFL cheerleaders, musical artists, radio personalities, rehab and recovery patients, pre and postnatal mothers, and several sports teams. D'Angelo's approach to training is innovative and comprehensive. Emphasis is placed on the mental component of health and wellness as much as the physical. This fresh perspective has set him apart in the industry. Thank you for coming on Two Moons a Microphone. D'Angelo is my personal trainer, and we've known each other for many, many years. And he is, he is responsible for sculpting this, my body and keeping me healthy. And we are going to chat about what it would take to get that comic book hero body. We see a lot of fun looking bodies in the ElfQuest comic and other comics and, Marvel movies. So I thought this would be a fun conversation because I always ask these questions as a way of stalling during my sessions. Like, did you see Hugh Jackman in the Daredevil? He looked like, or what was it? Deadpool looked ridiculous. Like, is he real? But before we get started, I just want to share with everyone. I mentioned a few episodes ago about my favorite ElfQuest covers in anticipation for the ElfQuest covers hardcover collection, which I just got. And I am so excited. It's beautiful. It weighs about 5 pounds. I can use it to, keep myself. Yeah, do that kind of work. Thank you very much. It's just gorgeous. They have full color pictures. And as a segue, I sent D'Angelo one of the covers that got a lot of ElfQuest fans hot and bothered. And let's see, where it is. It's from Final Quest. And we get Cutter and Skywise with their abs and chest out and elf nipples. Everybody was like freaking out. So it's gorgeous. You can order this directly from Flex, not this exact book because this was limited edition, but there is a hardcover and I believe a soft cover. And there are also these adorable little pocket paperbacks. They are so cute. I just had to get them because they are like so cute and adorable. I love them. So anyway, check those out on Flesk Publications.com or Flesk FLESK.com. Okay, D'Angelo.
Yes. Good evening.
Hello. What would it take to get that like super svelte? I think you used a term today, ectomorph type body.
Yes, we did talk about that. In a word, magic. That's about it. That's the only way we're gonna get that physique. No,
Well, the elves are magic. That's how they get
and
sculpted.
that's why it makes sense because they don't have to work out, they don't have to diet, they don't have to get the proper rest and all that good stuff. But for that comic book superhero physique, one, you sort of have to categorize where you want to land in terms of that physique. So, as we talked about with that cover, though that elf body type is what we consider ectomorphic, and that's basically super lean. So some would say skinny, almost petite. And for you to have that ectomorphic, super lean, and almost petite physique, along with really full muscles, is almost impossible. Now, there are rare people that
Thinking about that.
can attain that, but it's super difficult. I will say that. But if you start with wellness as your base, you can sculpt and again, of course, you got to be committed and consistent. You can sculpt a very fit physique. Now, just have to be realistic of in terms of what your genetics will allow. But lean and huge muscle, super hard. I mean, that's just the plain and simple. I mean, if you look at, and I made that distinction in my bio about working with natural bodybuilders, um, they'll look, pretty big, but as compared to non-natural, is how I'm going to put that, bodybuilders, there's no comparison, man. I mean, those are freakish physiques, and we're talking upwards of 250 pounds with under 5% body fat, and that's just not something that's realistic on a day-to-day basis. I mean, even for those competitors, I mean, they do that for a very short period of time, and then they'll go to a loading phase where they may balloon up to 300 pounds. So, just to give you an idea how extreme that can be.
Wow. So like I was saying, I watched the Wolverine Deadpool movie, and Hugh Jackman just, it didn't even look real. Like, it looked
Right.
like he was drawn, let's say. And I was like, is that like, is it CGI? Like, are they really like what are they doing? Like, what is a typical day to like kind of look like to get to that
That
physical form?
physique is literally in similar to what I experienced with my professional athletes. That's their job. So if you thought about how if you had 8 hours and that was your job to get in shape, I'm sure you would be in the greatest shape ever. But it may also take a minimum of 68 hours of actually training. So for a professional boxer, for instance, who comprise a lot of my pro athletes currently. They have a full day. I mean, they're up early running 5 and 6 miles in the morning. Then they'll have an hour to an hour and a half strength and conditioning training with me. And then they have their technical work. Then they have film study. And then they may do another run in the evening. So it's a lot of volume when it comes to that. And to Hugh Jackman's credit, I've seen some of the behind the scenes. He approaches it like a professional athlete, and I mean, he does a ton of work, and that may be 6 to 8 months out before he starts filming in order to achieve that. And this is, I mean, having played that role for so long, he's familiar with it, so it becomes a little easier over time. But it's a lot of work. But you have to start with a base physique that can achieve that, and also have to consider that when it's on film, it does look fuller. And I've never seen him in person, but I would imagine he isn't as full and large if you saw him in person because of how much weight the TV and film will add. But ton of work, ton of dieting, ton of sacrifice. But then again, if you're getting paid, $8 to $10 million to play a role, I think you could sacrifice for
I guess. But what do
that.
us normal people do? What are like, we're just walking around going to the grocery store. I mean, I work out with you 3 days a week,
Right,
and I'm just trying to like stay healthy for as long as I can. I want to be able to like move around on my own for as long as possible. So like the muscles look nice, but I just
right.
need them to like, I want my bone density to be good. I've had 4 kids. They've sucked all of the
There
like
you
calcium out of me,
go.
and I want to keep it, as fit as possible. But I'm still guilty of like seeing people in media.
Yes,
I bring it up in our sessions
we
a
know.
lot. I'm like, first I wanted to look like Regina King. I wanted to do the Tomb Raider workout. Like, I just go through the other things. I wanted to be the Woman King, which I'm still mad that movie didn't get any nominations whatsoever. I'm still mad about that. So I haven't let that go. But yeah, so like what do us normal real people do to try to, stay healthy, that like to be comfortable in our own skin? I love
Sure.
that you have that like mental and physical part. I can definitely attest to that. I love that you have that in part of your body because it's so true. Like it really does go together.
Yes, no, the mental approach is, I mean, almost everything. And I think one of the biggest things, and it probably suits you because you are consistent. You have been training for so long, and I always try to remind people that to just to give themselves grace because yes, we see these media influences and representation of, oh well, this is what fit is and healthy and all that good stuff, but don't forget to give yourself credit for how much work you put in and how good you look comparatively. It's just always our need to be better, to refine that look, and we just gotta reward what the hard work we put in, because it usually takes someone from the outside that doesn't know you that'll say, hey, you look really great, or you look fit, and you're like, oh, I'm thinking I need to go do this thing and that thing. But start with the appreciation of yourself and just be honest with, one, the amount of work you want to put in, because again, it's all contingent on the work you want to put in. So I have people that are everywhere from, again, pro athlete to, hey, I want to be able to eat what I want on the weekend, so I'm going to get in here, and yes, I want to drink my beer, I want to do whatever on the weekend, but I know I have to put the work in during the week, and that may not result in uh a six pack, but it keeps me fit, it keeps me well, it keeps me mobile, which is more important. And but if you want to take it to that next level, you just got to understand that it's going to take a certain level of sacrifice, but absolute consistency. Had a conversation with one of my clients that recently had a baby, and she's actually a trainer, and within 5 months or so, she's already dropped the baby weight. So she sends me this picture of like, can you think I can achieve this? And I say, yes, you can. Absolutely. It's going to be a 2-year process. So first and foremost, it's not going to be quick. But I also wanted just to remind her, enjoy your baby.
Mhm.
Everything doesn't have to be about looking a certain way. You look great already, but and I understand that need to want to be better and look better, but take your time, enjoy life. If you're able to fit your clothes and climb upstairs without huffing and puffing, you've made it. Now, if you want to take it to that next level, sure, you want to be crazy like me, and you're going full out on the step mill for 30 minutes at the 20 speed, cool, but that's not for everyone. So just kind of
Definitely not.
gauge where
Definitely
you
not
want
me.
to, and that's fine, that's fine. But having an appreciation for whatever you want or maybe think you want, and what that takes will help you kind of stem some of this frustration, and but also, like I said, just appreciate that you're fit, you're well, you're moving. So consistent stretching, some resistance training, sensible eating. No, you don't have to eat grass all the time, but just balance. It's all the simple stuff. It's just doing the simple stuff day in and day out at the end of the day.
Okay. What would you say what is, like, the thing that people come to you for the most? Or does it, like, vary depending on your client? Because you
it,
have, like
it
like, a wide variety of
I
clients that
do.
I've seen, and it's amazing the way that you can, like, pinpoint a program for each person in this, like, computer brain of yours. Even, like, throughout the course of the year, like, how do you do that? How do you put that together? It's amazing.
It's what, it's a lot of experience, but also exposing myself to different disciplines. So I've done everything from football to martial arts to, and then I also allow the input of my clients to have an impact on how we shape a program. But all starts with a base, and always my base movements are a push up, a squat, a proper crunch, and then, as an aside, a pull up if that's available, but super simple. Everything is just simply a variation of those movements, period. It's all pushes and pulls. And it doesn't necessitate, special equipment with the bane of my existence, waist trainers, quote unquote. And wraps and straps and all that good stuff. It's just hard work consistently, and then just really starting with the person, getting to know them, asking tons of questions so that they can create their program by giving me as much input as possible. And sometimes they just don't know how to create that avatar of what they really want. So that's where the partnership comes into play, where I'm asking them this question and then in a way anticipating what they may say. So, almost every woman that comes in and say, I want to move this over here, that over there, I want this bigger, this smaller. I get it. So we don't even have to worry about that. And so they'll tell me, well, I got this coming up and I want to do this thing and I got this other thing. It's pretty much all the same, you know, at the end of the day. But I understand that you want things to look like they're supposed to look and stay where they're supposed to stay. And if you're an athlete, it's if I know that this is the ultimate goal, we may need to go an unconventional route, to add things to their arsenal so that they can perform well. So I'll give homework, especially for like my teen athletes. And at first, they don't understand it. Like if I have soccer players, I had a young lady, she was a nationally ranked soccer player. I said, I want you to look up and research how owls hunt and just left it at that. So of course she gives me the puzzled look, but she didn't really understand it. So then she watched it and she was like, okay, I watched it. I said, so what did you notice? They hunt at night. She's giving me standard owl stuff, and I knew she researched it. I said, but did you know this that even despite when they're moving through the air, their head never moves. Their vision is always on the target, and that's what I was really getting at for her in order to add to her skill set was being able to move through space and still target the ball. And she was like, "Oh, I get it now." And then now she's all about owls. Like I don't, I just sparked that, but it's taking those routes that include, how you perceive space and how do you move through that space. What is your body doing in response to different stimuli? So if it's a fighter, are you reading body language? So it's incorporating all those different things. And because I'm interested in so many different things, I'm always researching mental aspect, how you're moving in terms of your body, whether it's taking something from swimming to bodybuilding and vice versa. Understanding how to move through the air when you're running. So just giving as much as possible, anything comprehensive, and even to the point that once I gain new knowledge, if I find that something I had suggested before isn't the best, or even if it's completely wrong, my first step is to say, hey, I know we did it this way, but this is a better way. Boom. So I don't let the whole ego of, well, this is my way and this is the only way. It's about the client first and foremost. So whatever works best for them. And sometimes there's a little trial and error in terms of techniques because of a particular ailment. It may be knee pain and a lot of times that's connected to something emotional, which is something that you also have to consider. Um, the goal at the end of the day is to find a solution that works for them.
Oh, very nice. So, Sabrina says that she likes the idea of like creating an avatar, like you have the avatar in your head, which you could be a comic book character or a Wolf
Totally
Rider.
fine.
and
But
and you will figure out a way to get it like somewhat achievable, I
absolutely, yeah,
which I
absolutely, you
think
can
is
do that.
great. But yeah,
Again, as
so
long as you're realistic. Like I don't want, if you're 5'5" and say, "Well, I want to be 6 foot," I can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about that. But in terms of what we can do with our efforts, absolutely.
this comes up a lot, women of my age, about this like you get this belly at after things slow down and stuff.
Hmm.
Is there, are there any tips or anything? But Sabrina, you should definitely check out D'Angelo and, I
Yeah.
can't recommend his services enough. I think he's
I
wonderful.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Again, can it be improved? Absolutely. Will it disappear? Maybe not. You always got to consider that. But again, although the goal is to turn back the clock in a way, your body's totally different than what it may have been 10, 20 years ago. It's just accepting that. So it's going to do things, and our bodies are smart also. So although we may want a thing, there's typically a reason why it's changing in the way that it does. So it's also keeping that in mind as well. So if it's slowing down, that means you need to slow down, because guess what? It may introduce, higher risk of injury. But how do we reduce that? By working agility. It's all the things that we don't think that we need to incorporate. So yes, it is the conventional weight training and resistance and all that good stuff, but stretching and massage and recovery and mobility training should also be something that you make a priority.
Yeah, I was just reading an article today that exercise does not really change your metabolism, it was saying.
Absolutely. People think
I mean, exercise is good
that.
for other things, but it's
Hmm.
like your body is going to keep your metabolism at the level that it is, no matter what you
Your
do
body's
physically.
programmed to survive at the end of the day. Your body doesn't want to be skinny. That's what we gotta keep in mind. Your body is programmed to survive.
You heard it
And
here. Skinny is
yeah, I
not
know.
natural.
It's not natural. It's not, because it's not very efficient to be, aesthetic in that way. But also, again, when it comes to the mental component, we have to get to a point where we understand the difference between actually being hungry and just wanting the thing that we want to eat. And that's the part that can be hard for a lot of people, which is that again, that's human. And then we live in the modern world where everything's available. So although I don't know all the storyline behind ElfQuest, there's a lot of sacrifice that has to go down when it comes to your nutrition, your dieting, and that sort of thing. And it's, getting the freshest food as possible. And that doesn't always mean convenience. I mean, no one's average person isn't going down to the river and fishing or slaughtering a cow or growing their own crops. I mean, it's good to do all those things, but by and large, that's not how we operate. So again, even our daily habits contribute to the physique that we have. So just keeping that in mind. But always at the end of the day, I want to recommend just stay active. Stay active.
Oh, Natalie says, hunger and cravings being my nemesis. What
Hmm.
do you crave, D'Angelo? I know you like a good cookie.
Uh, I do like a good cookie, but again, it comes down to discipline. Like what I don't want to do is uh and again, this is how companies play to those cravings. I don't want you to do a low fat, low this, low no such and such cookie. Eat the cookie, but earn the cookie and just don't overeat. So if you can be disciplined enough to only eat a cookie, that'd be great. Now, eating a cookie every day still isn't good, because however many days that is, that's 7 cookies or 30 cookies. Enjoy it. And then it's on the eve of Thanksgiving. What else could be perfect? Enjoy Thanksgiving. Full fat, full sugar, all the good stuff. But Thanksgiving is one day. So, enjoy it, and then you get back to work. You,
Well,
you,
I
you,
mean,
you,
there are
you can.
leftovers.
Yeah, I understand that, but usually those leftovers that we want aren't the veggies. It's the all the good stuff, right? So, you know, the,
Absolutely.
the the axiom of you can't, out train a bad diet, that is absolutely true. And I literally have seen people in the gym fooling themselves thinking, well, if I eat while I'm working out, no, like people don't really grasp the caloric expenditure necessary to actually burn whatever they think they're eating. Like it's crazy. Like think about in the perspective, and maybe that'll help with quote unquote cravings. If one cookie is 20 minutes of cardio, that puts you in the spot. If you want to have six, or if you want to have your cookies and your ice cream, I mean, it's not going to be effort for calories. It's just not. It doesn't balance out in that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, unlike the wolf riders that are hunters, basically, I mean, they have a survival physique because they are hunting and they
Purpose
eat
driven.
the raw meat and they're living in the forest off the land and So they're very lean that way. They're very ectomorphic. It's my new
There you
word.
go.
I love it.
And just
But
to give a
yeah,
perspective on those body types, so you have ectomorphic, which is the lean, skinny physique. You have endomorphic, which is the other extreme, which is heavier, less defined. It can be, it's not obese necessarily, but it's very smooth, is what we would call it. And then you have mesomorph, which is sort of a blend of both, where you're able to put on muscle really easily and you're relatively lean. And then, of course, we can operate in on the spectrum between all of those things, so they can be a mix. So just to give you a feel for you know s- what that actually means, and don't you know get anxiety trying to define your exact type. It's just that that's the terminology that we use to kind of define where you are and where you want to be.
as and that's determined by, like, your just genetics, or
That is all genetics,
that's how
absolutely.
trainers categorize people just by, like, looking at them?
That's it, and then it gives you, it helps with the approach you take to your dieting and training.
I thought it was interesting. The actor that's in the new Gladiator 2
Hmm.
movie, I think I sent it to you. He was like some kind of like rugby player or football player. And he said like for training for the movie that he didn't want to be that kind of like super sculpted. Like he felt like he was fit enough all like in general, and I guess it was more like on the other end of the spectrum, like you were saying, like a little more smooth, but like super strong. Cause like
Right.
he wanted to be able to do all of the fight scenes and the
Right.
choreography and have the agility. But he wasn't like, he personally, I
See
guess,
every
wasn't
muzzle.
interested in looking like super like ripped. And I thought that was really interesting and neat because it seems like more realistic for like a real person if they were kind of thrust in that situation. Like, it wouldn't necessarily just be some guy like who they, plucked off and then just all of a sudden he was like super ripped.
And oddly enough, that's actually truer to what gladiator physiques were like. So if you compare that to how the guys looked in the 300, and what I try to remind people with that is that was like stylized comic book look. Whereas for gladiator movies, they shouldn't be that way, because the actual gladiators were the almost, they were treated like horses. And what I mean by that was they got the best of food, and they also were fed lots of grain, just like a horse. And they actually used that because they wanted to, and I'm like jack of all trades when it comes to like just information. So this is why I kind of went down the rabbit hole with this one. But they actually want a layer of fat on the gladiators because remember their armor was minimal, so they needed something to protect their organs from sword slashes and the like. So they actually were thicker, smoother, like you said, still super strong, but the goal wasn't to have ripped abs or that sort of thing. So just to give you a so shed some light on his approach, that's actually a rugby player's physique is closer to what the gladiators look like.
Yeah. So it's just more important to be, I don't know, be more realistic, be healthy, and not be so fixated on the like what the media shows you and like this body image. Do you get men that have that same issue? I know it's kind of prevalent in women, but I don't want to generalize.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking of myself. I used to compare myself a lot. I don't so much anymore, but I'm 51, so you got to outgrow some stuff. Even though I do still ask you about things, but
It's okay.
I'm working on
Listen,
it.
and that's totally fine. But men, absolutely, they're the same but different. Men want to be bigger. They want to look like the comic books. That's at the end of the day, and particularly for like younger athletes, younger trainees, I tell them, yeah, that's easy to do. Just use steroids. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, I'm not a proponent of steroids, but I'm just letting you know the people that you're aiming to achieve a physique that's similar to the steroids. And they hate hearing their heroes torn down, but it's what it is. I mean, unfortunately, because are there anomalies? Are there, some outliers? Absolutely, but they're just not a lot of outliers. I mean, in the world, period. So I was watching some video on a guy, I forget what his name is, but he's kind of viral on the socials, but he's 6'8", 300 pounds, and I think he's like 5 feet. I mean, 5% body fat, or like the guy, the mountain, like he's huge. But how many of those guys are just walking around? Like that's not something that's common. You know what I mean? So you're gonna
Yeah.
have that you can that is possible, but it's just not probable that you'll achieve that, sort of physique. So, it's all relative at the end of the day. But yeah, men as bad or worse than women, trust me. They just don't tell women.
Interesting. Oh, some tea. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right.
so like the natural, you train natural bodybuilder. Are they in like a separate type of competition that is,
Similar
I don't know,
competition, but the
strictly?
designation is that Uh-oh. The designation is they do, and non-natural they also test, but it's rigged, just to let you know. But the natural bodybuilders tend to be smaller, so they may be, you know, 220 pounds versus 275, 290 plus. And even that, at the higher end of natural bodybuilding, there's been some goings on because even the way that they begin to test, like, you're not allowed to take steroids, obviously, but some people will push the limits as with any other sport where they'll take a precursor, and that precursor, once it hits your system, can act in a similar way as steroids. Or you'll hear stories of, hey, this guy took a couple years off so he could bulk up. And in that time, can you use something and it clear your system? And then when you go in for your drug test and your polygraph, and the question isn't, have you ever used steroids? It'll be within the past year. You can honestly say no
Mm.
because it was 2 years ago. So it gets tricky at the end, but I prefer people that are just there on, all the good old natural stuff, and aren't putting their health at risk at the end of the day. That's my biggest concern. I don't want anyone that becoming so obsessed with achieving a physique that they would compromise, their longevity. And
Slot.
you'll see the guys that are in all the magazines, and now they're, several heart attacks. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a prime example. Their bodies start to break down because of what those things do to your joints. I mean, it can just really ravage your body. So I'm keep it natural, and if it's a choice between, looking like a superhero or looking like a regular guy, stay
Yay, regular. Let's
regular.
All right. So we're going to pig out tomorrow. We're going to have some people are going to partake of a lot of stuff. What do you recommend, like, for the following weekend? Nothing crazy, but, if you just wanted to get started to, like, begin a journey of
Begin the journey.
healthier living.
Super simple. What I usually recommend is 3 days of fruits and vegetables only, just to clear
Oh,
your
wow.
system, provide your body with all the nutrients it needs. But fruits and veggies are full of fiber, all the good stuff. So that's a good way to detox. You don't have to do all these teas and potions and all that good stuff, but just allow good, healthy food to begin to cleanse your body. And then that'll kind of take you back to square one, which is, great place to be. It'll help with bloating if you have any bloating issues. Um, but at the end of the day, make sure you're drinking tons and tons of water. Now, I know there's question of, well, can you drink too much? In super rare occasions, yes, that can occur, but for most people, that's not the case. But water's essential for everything. It works in tandem with the fiber to clean out your system, and it helps you to remain hydrated, to function. I mean, everything's connected to whether or not your body dehydrated, because otherwise your body will start to divert the resources to more important parts, which means other parts of your body and system will suffer. So start with fruits and vegetables, and then from there, it's just sticking to the basics. I mean, lots of fruits and veggies with lots of colors, lean protein, chicken, fish, turkey, and changing the mindset of not only what you eat, but how you eat. So understanding that we don't need 3 meals a day, and no, you're not going to starve. And, a lot of that was the advent of, um, when people were factory workers. I mean, you were basically a human machine. So you needed a fuel in the morning so that you could work until lunchtime, fuel again so you could work some more in the evening, and then fuel up in the evening in order so that your body can recover so you can do it all over again the next day. So can you operate on one meal a day? Yes. Will it slow down your metabolism? No. All of those things are sold to us to say, hey, we need to buy this protein or this supplement. Just keep it simple.
Oh, Sabrina has a question. Can you
Sure.
still drink tap water or should you always buy it?
Absolutely can drink tap water as long as it's clean. We live in America, so it's pretty clean water. I guess if it's not, was that Detroit or wherever that was, but
Flint,
um,
Michigan.
Flint, Michigan. There you go. But tap water with a good old water filter, perfect. No, you don't need volcanic water and alkaline water. Like all those things are gimmicks. All of them.
Oh, I have another question for you from
Sure.
Simone. Hey, Simone. Um, is there a fictional heroic action character that you find remotely realistic? And if that's too broad, who is your favorite?
Ah, that is pretty broad. I mean, because I was gonna use like a Captain America, but again, he was a super soldier, so with a serum.
But zero.
Um,
But Chris Evans is a real
he
person.
he's a real person. I would say he has the most balanced physique, and again, particularly for men, gotta work your legs. And training your legs is actually linked to life longevity. So got to make that a priority. You don't want to. I call it the sweatpants at the beach physique, where you're like super big up top and no legs, but you really need to work your legs. Um, but you know what? Probably, I mean, and I don't know necessarily what the character embodied, but um, you had Wesley Snipes play Blade. That was probably fit, not over ripped, and active. He's a martial artist as well. But I think that was a good representation. Um, as far as a woman, I mean, when you have the live action, you had some pretty fit physiques. Probably Scarlett Johansson. I mean, she
Okay.
wasn't super lean, but she was fit, so that was still soft. So that's probably the best, two of the best. One for the guys and one for the girls, which gives you something to shoot for, I think.
Do you have a
And
favorite?
that
Who's
was a
your
good question.
favorite, like, superhero character?
S- Character or physique, or
Just your
doesn't matter.
character. Who do you like the best? Who's your favorite?
I don't know if I had like the best. I think I find them interesting. I do like Spawn as a
Mm.
character because it's dark and complex and that sort of thing. Um, and I can't. Other than that, I think that's about. I mean, Spawn is a good one, but I couldn't say I have a favorite. I like the Hulk also, which is of course a super exaggeration of physique, but now I'm getting lost in all the Red Hulk and all that good stuff. I just kind of knew the Hulk, but I like the
I need
fact
to
that
read
he's
about up on that.
a doctor, and also like this is the other end of the extreme in terms of who his personality is. But yeah, I think that's about it. I mean,
Oh,
I mean,
I like
everybody
that.
likes Wolverine. I like Wolverine.
I like the Hulk for you because you're very, like, you're physical, you're like super buff, but like you write poetry
Very true.
and and you write books and like you have a very, like, in touch with your, like, sensitive side, which I've always appreciated about you. So that's cool. I love that.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, no, for sure. I like to have a balance for sure.
I love it. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you too late. I know everybody's got a lot of prep going on. There's prep happening in my kitchen as we speak.
As you speak.
Um, I can smell it actually, so it's a little distracting.
I can understand
But
that.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to get you to listen to the ElfQuest audio movie or podcast. I sent it to you. I think you'll enjoy
Perfect.
it. It's
Perfect.
very
I'll check it out.
immersive
Okay.
and it's
Cool.
fun. And we can talk about it at my on Friday.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for
Anyway,
having me.
oh, thanks for coming. And thank you all in the chat. Thanks for watching Two Moons and a Microphone. This is the season finale. This is episode
Thanks.
12. It's been quite a ride, and I wouldn't be here without you guys in the chat and pumping me up, gassing me up on social media. I love it. And I've converted some more people to ElfQuest, which is my mission. So I look forward to doing that in the next season. My next episode will start for season 2 on February 5th, 2025. Check out the sale for the merch. All the Sci-Fi Sisters Inc. merch is on sale right now on their site. I think the link is in the description of this. 20% off with the code BlackFry. And that's it. That's it for us. Thank you again, D'Angelo. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you in the new year. Shade and sweet water.